Starting with the next topic, that is the intraoral surgical flaps. Now, what do you mean by flap? So, it is the section of soft tissue which is outlined by an incision. It has its own blood supply. Then it allows the surgical access to the defect. Like you raise the flap and you can see the defect. Then it can be replaced in its original position and it is maintained with the help of sutures. Now there are three types of surgical flap. So the first is the sulcular full thickness flap, that is full mucoperiosteal flap. Here you have the horizontal incision along with the marginal and the interdental gingival tissue. Mucogingival flaps, they are the limited mucoperiosteal flap. They again are the horizontally oriented incision, but the margins or the interdental papilla, it is not included. And third type is the leukoregional flap. So they are the localized flaps like the tongue flap or the palatal flaps. The first flap that we are going to discuss is the triangular flap. So it is made with the horizontal and the intrasulcular, that is the clavicular incision, and it has a vertical releasing incision that is made only on one side, that is going divergent towards the buccal vestibule, and it forms that obtuse angle. Now this vertical incision is usually made in the interproximal areas, as over there the tissues are thick and they should never lie directly on the facial aspect. The main advantage is it allows good wound healing, and because of that there is minimum disruption to the vascularity of the flap. Now the main disadvantage is there is limited surgical access because you have only single vertical releasing incision. So exposure of the root apices, it becomes very difficult. So in this you can also add an additional incision, that is a distal relaxing incision. So this will help in more accessibility. So this flap, it is recommended for the posterior teeth as it provides favorable surgical access and excellent wound healing. So it is recommended mostly in the mandibular posterior teeth. The next flap, that is the rectangular flap. It is similar to the triangular flap, but the only difference here is instead of one releasing incision, you have two vertical releasing incision. So the main advantage will be there will be an increase in the surgical access, and it is used for mandibular anterior teeth, multiple teeth, or in the long rooted teeth like the maxillary canines. But usually this flap, it is not recommended for the posterior teeth because of the suturing problem. The major disadvantages is there is difficulty in reapproximating the flap margins. Then the post-surgical stabilization is difficult, and there are greater chances for post-surgical flap dislodgement. So these are the disadvantages of the rectangular flap. Now moving towards the next flap, that is the trapezoidal flap. Similarly, it is that of your rectangular flap where you have two vertical releasing incision, you have that horizontal incision and also the intrasulcular incision. But the only difference over here is the angulation. So in rectangular, the vertical incision, they are straight, but in trapezoidal they have this angulation of obtuse angle. So in this, it is a broad based flap with the vestibular portion which is wider than the sulcus. So this flap, it is desirable, which is based on assumption of providing better blood supply. But now here the disadvantage is the blood vessels and the fibers, they are usually oriented in the vertical direction, and now this trapezoidal flap, it is oriented with that angulation. So it can damage vital structure, which will result in more bleeding, disruption of the vascular supply, and because of that it is usually not indicated in the periradicular surgeries. Now the next is the envelope flap, which is also known as horizontal flap. So this is one of the most common type of the flap which is used, and it is only made with the horizontal clavicular incision, and here you don't have those vertical releasing incision. Because of limited surgical access, it is very limitedly used in the periradicular surgery, and the application, it is limited to the cervical defects, root perforation, resorption, caries, etc. The entire mucoperiosteal flap, it is raised using the periosteal elevator. So these are the full mucoperiosteal flap. Now starting with the limited periosteal flap. So the first is the semilunar flap. So here the horizontal incision, it is dipped towards the incisal aspect in the center of the flap. So it will resemble that half moon. Now this incision, it is taken at least 5 millimeters away from the gingival margin. It is useful to avoid the damage to the interdental papilla and to prevent the periodontal post-surgical defect. The disadvantage for this will be it lies on the bony defect and it also leaves a noticeable scar. So it is used for the incision and drainage procedure and also one of the most commonly used endodontic surgical procedure, that is the epicoectomy. Now the next flap is the submarginal scalloped rectangular flap, which is known as Lübke-Oxenbein flap. Scalloped incision is made at the middle of the attached gingiva. The angle of the incision in relation to the cortical plate, it is 45 degrees. Because this angle, it provides the widest cut surface. Because of that, there is better adaptation. Now the purpose of using this scalloped horizontal incision is to provide a guide for the correct repositioning of the flap for suturing. So now this is important to scallop the incision precisely through this gingival margin. The attached gingiva, it is remaining intact. Mesial or the mesiodistal vertical releasing incision, it permits adequate access to the surgical site, and the vertical incision of the mucogingival flap, it should be parallel. So the junction where the horizontal scalloped incision, it meets the vertical incision, it should be rounded to promote smoother and faster healing. So when the intersection is 90 degree, so in that case there will be slow healing. So the major advantages is marginal or the interdental gingiva, they are not included and it will not expose the crestal bone. The disadvantages are there is excessive bleeding, possibility of the flap shrinkage, delayed healing and scar formation because of the vertically oriented blood vessels and the collagen fiber. And this flap, it is of most suitable for the crown teeth where aesthetic is of an utmost importance. Now starting with the last type of flaps, that are the leukoregional flaps. So the first is the tongue flap. Now tongue, it is a highly vascular organ where the anterior, posterior or the lateral paced flaps can be raised depending on the defect. So they are commonly used in the anterior palatal fistula and the oral submucous fibrosis. Now the last flap is the palatal flap. They are the axial flaps which is based on the greater palatine artery and it is useful in the closure of a small palatal defect like the fistula. And they can also be used as pedicle finger flap or island flap. So that was all about the intraoral surgical flap. Thank you so much.